Kia ora and welcome to our Kiwi-NRL Warriors newsy video for this weekend, where we've got some Warriors related news with Setu Tu reported to be joining the Dragons. So I'll put a bit of a spotlight on the growing Kiwi-NRL crew at the Dragons. Also want to put a spotlight on the Gold Coast Titans, who have been pretty active in the Kiwi-NRL marketplace. And we had confirmation that Harry Durbin, Pikiao Jr. from Rotorua, he is off to the Brisbane Tigers, and that news was delivered with a forecast towards the Perth Bears. So Harry Durbin will be, at least next year, he'll be playing Queensland Cup. He'll be returning to Queensland because he did apparently go to Marsden State High School. He did play for South Logan under 19s before coming back to Aotearoa to join the Warriors in 2023. Harry Durbin, he will have to dominate and command further opportunities in Queensland Cup, so it's a good deal for all parties. Obviously Harry Durbin gets a pathway to an NRL contract career maybe, but as far as Perth Bears or Brisbane Tigers goes, Harry Durbin will need to be one of the best players, one of the best forwards in that Brisbane Tigers team to keep ploughing forward. The whole Harry Durbin leaves at the Warriors is similar to a lot of these other forwards that have left the Warriors, where I'm like, okay, cool, not too worried. Like, we think back to the start of this year and Zion Mai'u left the Warriors. If we go back even further, like people saying Tohu Harris, Dylan Walker, Josh Curran, all these players were going to have a big impact. Adam Fanua-Blake going to have big impact. That's why the Warriors are going to suck. Well, they didn't. And then they let Zion Mai'u go, and all that happened was Tanistawa Smith and Eddie Ieremia Toiava played more NRL games than Zion Mai'u. So based on the track record of the Warriors forwards especially leaving, I'm not too worried about the hole that Harry Durbin leaves in the Warriors depth chart as far as middle forwards go. I actually don't know if we'll see many debuts in that forward pack next season, because there's no, in a top 17, you probably won't have Tanistawa Smith, you probably won't have Eddie Ieremia Toiava, let alone guys below them. And I actually think that is going to be a very useful thing for the Warriors coming into 2026, is that the young forwards have all played a decent chunk of NRL footy, like Vaimonga, Halasima, Jacob Laban. They've all become comfortable with the NRL grind. Vaimonga and Halasima are playing international rugby league right now. Well, not right now, but they have been playing. And we saw all those forwards especially debut over the last 2 years mainly, and I think that is going to slow down for the 2026 season. So I would expect, and if there is going to be a debut, it's probably going to be someone like Morgan Gannon, who is already a Super League player coming from England into the Warriors system, and he will be pushing for NRL. He will want to be pushing for NRL footy. All these new signings, I just throw them in the mystery man bracket, because we'll just wait and see how they adapt to the Warriors system, and they adapt to rugby league in Aotearoa / Australia. So we'll wait and see what Morgan Gannon can do, but I think he will be one of the only possible debutants in that forward pack rankings. So that means the opportunities for forwards in the Warriors system right now may be slowing down, but that's only a good thing as far as NRL performance goes, because you want these forwards already to be fit and mentally switched on, prepared, and just comfortable with the whole grind of NRL footy. So I think that's the best thing for the NRL team, is to have Iriaramia, Toiava, Tanistawa Smith, Jacob Laban, Vaimonga, Halasima, all those dudes already playing NRL footy, already doing a couple pre-seasons, already being part of the NRL squad through NRL seasons. I think that is a huge boost for the Warriors. I don't think these dudes will debut. Like, behind Gannon, the next debut you might get is Faeamani because he can cover a few positions. I still think his main roles will be edge and middle forward for the Warriors. He, like, just based on New South Wales Cup selection, Faeamani hasn't played much centre for the New South Wales Cup team as a starter. Of course, you can move positions during the game to cover absences. As we know very well with the Warriors, that's a great thing about all Warriors players, is how they deal with, well, that's a great thing about the Warriors system, is how all the players can cover a few different positions during a game. So yes, Faeamani might move to centre during a game, but he basically started all his games this year in New South Wales Cup as an edge forward, and we have seen Jacob Laban, Iriaramia Toiava, Leka Halasima play edge and middle because that's what is needed of them at the NRL level. So based on what has happened in the Warriors system already, I am forecasting Faeamani as edge middle forward, and yes, he can step outside that box to cover other positions as well. That will increase his chances of a debut, but I still think maybe Gannon will be better. He'll be more prepared for NRL footy straight away. But Faeamani might be in the mix for a debut this year. Then you're looking at, I don't think these dudes will debut, but these are guys who I think will benefit from the exodus of the Warriors forwards in the New South Wales Cup level. Jason Salalilo, we've talked a lot about him this year because he is under 21s. He played under 21s this year with Harry Durbin, but he only played 6 games, and then he went into New South Wales Cup and played 22 games. So, and if we think, okay, how did the Warriors New South Wales Cup team sharpen towards finals footy? Salalilo was being selected ahead of Toby Crosby. So already in the Warriors system, based on team selections, Jason Salalilo is ranked ahead of Harry Durbin. Jason Salalilo is ranked ahead of Toby Crosby. And he was under 21s this year, so he'll best be looking to settle into a groove with the New South Wales Cup team next season. And he played a little bit of edge forward. He started 1 game at edge forward in the New South Wales Cup team, primarily coming off the bench. And he is a bit of a lesser known character because he moved up from Christchurch for the 2024 season, having won the national championship with St. Thomas of Canterbury in 2023, maybe. He played a few games at SG Ball, 1 game at Jersey Flegg. That was it in 2024. And then 2025, he starts the season in Jersey Flegg, 6 games before moving up to New South Wales Cup, where he played 22 games. So Jason Salalilo is one of the lesser known Warriors prospect forwards, but given how Tanistawa Smith, Iriaramia Toiava, those two especially have developed in the Warriors system, I think we should have high expectations on what Salalilo is capable of, because he is seems like a lovely young chap. He's an elite performer. He's won the National Secondary Schools Championship with St. Thomas of Canterbury. He is a New South Wales Cup champion. He is a State Cup champion. He was one of the main youngsters in that New South Wales Cup team who played most of the games and finals footy. So that is to say that Salalilo is just straight up one of the best young players in the Warriors system yet to play NRL. And when you think, okay, well, Salalilo is ranked ahead of Harry Durbin, he was ranked ahead of Toby Crosby. What has happened since then? Toby Crosby was allowed to leave. We still think he's going to the Panthers. Harry Durbin's gone. So Salalilo was ranked ahead of those dudes. Now he is still with the Warriors. The other two dudes have been let go, and I think that's a fairly similar situation to the Zion Mai'u'u stuff earlier this year. The Warriors would let Zion Mai'u'u go, knowing that they have Tanistawa Smith and Irioromia Toiava humming along, preparing for an NRL debut sometime this season. Another player in this equation is Rodney Tuipulotu-Vea. Now, compared to Salalilo, we know a lot more about Rodney Tuipulotu-Vea. He's from Auckland, and he's been in the Warriors system since 2023, progressing. He played 2 years of SG ball, 7 games, then 8 games. He's played 2 years of Jersey Flegg under-21s, 18 games, 16 games. There was crossover in 2024. He played 18 games of under-21s. He played 8 games of under-19s. So Tuipulotu-Vea has been a far more visible presence in the Warriors system for 3 years now. And he's also played a fair amount of New South Wales Cup. I think he's actually got 2 New South Wales Cup profiles, so we just need to be careful spitting out the facts. But that's why we have a few different sources, so we'll make sure we bring in Rugby League Project. So one of Tuipulotu-Vea's New South Wales Cup profiles, he's got 7 games of New South Wales Cup and Rugby League Project. So he played 3 games according to Rugby League Project in 2024, and then he played 7 games in 2025. He started 6 of his 7 games this year in New South Wales Cup. So a good way of thinking about the Harry Durbin stuff is Rodney Tuipulotu-Vea and Harry Durbin this season, they were moving between under-21s and New South Wales Cup basically together. There are obviously weekends where they were playing different grades, but they had a very similar journey through the 2025 season, which featured the fact that when they did play New South Wales Cup, they were starters. So you might think that those two dudes, because Harry Durbin also started most of his New South Wales Cup games this year, you might view that as him being ranked ahead of Jason Salalilo, but Jason Salalilo played twice as many games. He was in the finals team, so I think he is ranked ahead of Harry Durbin. And Rodney Tuipulotu-Vea has had a similar kind of journey as Harry Durbin, playing big minutes in New South Wales Cup, 29, 44, 41, 49, 38, 43, 35, 30 plus minutes in 6 of those games, 6 of the 7. And I, once again, based on selections, based on what has happened, I think the Warriors are pretty content with where Rodney Tuipulotu-Vea is at as a middle forward in the Warriors system, especially now that they have let Harry Durbin and Toby Crosby depart. Rodney Tuipulotu-Vea is ready to step into the New South Wales Cup team basically for round 1 next season, I believe. So him and Salalilo will be 2 younger forwards in that New South Wales Cup team that I'll be tracking closely. And along with Fatialofa, well, behind Fatialofa, those are the next 2 middle forwards to watch out for in the Warriors system as far as local juniors go. And just those 2 dudes alone, you don't need to be too stressed about looking at the Warriors forwards who have departed. As I said a few weeks ago, there will be a lot more space for younger players in that New South Wales Cup squad, given that we've seen Keilani going, Taumale leave as well, Bunty Afoa. So I will be curious to see what other young forwards step up to the New South Wales Cup team. But Salalilo and Rodney Tuipulotu-Vea have basically played 10 games of New South Wales Cup at least already. both are under 21s this year. And Tuipulotu, he was born May 2025, so he might still be under 21s next season, but I think there will be more spots up open in New South Wales Cup that he is likely to snap up. And just for a little bit more context on what Salalilo has done in the Warriors system, he has played a total of 7 under 21 games. 7 under 21 games, 22 New South Wales Cup games. Tuipulotu has played 34 under 21 games and roughly 10 New South Wales Cup games. So Salalilo, he basically skipped over under 21s and went straight into New South Wales Cup. Tuipulotu has been slowly grinding through every level. So I do think that that is a positive reinforcement for Salalilo, and also shows that Tuipulotu is definitely getting his reps in. One other thing that I am learning about is Jye Linnane, and I'm curious where he's going to pop up in the Warriors system next season. I've got 18thman.com here, which lays out all the, in Australia they'll call it rep, kind of junior reps, footy, and Jye Linnane played 10 games of under 21s in 2023. 2024, he played 1 game of under 19s, and he is yet to play New South Wales Cup, but Jye Linnane was on the fringe of the Knights NRL squad last season before I think he suffered another major knee injury. And the other major knee injury thing is important because Jye Linnane has been signed on a 3-year deal for the NRL squad, which tells me that this will be a slow process for, like, this is a long-term investment, I believe, for the Warriors with Jye Linnane, very talented half from Australia, and it's part of a funky half situation I talked about a few weeks ago, because I do think the top 4, Metcalf, Tamaita Martin, Tana Boyd, Chanel Harris, Tavita, that's your NRL halves depth right there for next season. Then you're looking at the Jet Cleary, Luke Hanson, Jye Linnane, Jack Thompson, and we'll wait and see what position Mr. Inch, Harry Inch, is going to play in the Warriors system early next season. Jye Linnane was signed as a 19-year-old July 4th. His birthday is August 6th. So he would have just turned 20 years old. So you could see Jye Linnane start next season in in under 21s, because again, players come to the Warriors and they understand the levels of development that they must work through in the Warriors system. And given Jye Linnane's injury history, given the Warriors multi-year contract for Linnane, I do think that they will be slowly cooking him, give him a taste of under 21s, make sure he's getting the strength and fitness and that stuff, and then open him up to New South Wales Cup. And like, we have to be realistic that Jye Linnane has not played New South Wales Cup. Luke Hanson's played 35 games of New South Wales Cup with a 71% win record. Even Jet Cleary, he's played New South Wales Cup and he didn't play many minutes in finals footy, but Jet Cleary was on the bench for New South Wales Cup finals. Luke Hanson was in those finals games for the Warriors. So Jye Linnane is a very, very good prospect, which is obviously, if you watch his highlights and all that stuff, you'll see he's a good rugby league player, but you also check in with where he was at with the Knights. He was like on a development contract as a youngster in the Knights system. So obviously he is an awesome up-and-coming player as a half, but he's he has not played New South Wales Cup, and we have two other young Aussie halves who have played New South Wales Cup. We got one in Luke Hanson, who's played a lot of New South Wales Cup while still being under 21 eligible, and another Jet Cleary who was part of that New South Wales Cup group as well. But then you got to think as well, where are the New South Wales Cup spots going to be available? Because if you got the four dudes all available, only you might have, and then you got Sam Healy as well. So how are you gonna put Taumoepeau Martin on the bench? Like, I prefer Sam Healy on the bench because he's just a better dummy half. So what I'm saying is that one of those top four halves from the NRL tier will be playing New South Wales Cup if everyone's available, if everyone's fit and healthy, and it's probably going to be Tana Boyd or Taumoepeau Martin. So then you've got one, maybe no half spots open in the New South Wales Cup team. So let alone trying to get those three younger Aussie halves, Hanson, Cleary, Linnane, into the New South Wales Cup team. This is something that I don't know how it's going to play out. It's something that I'll just be watching and learning to see who fits into where. You could say there's too many halves. I still think the more the merrier, because like Linnane has injury history. There's other bits and pieces. Maybe this player doesn't kick on. Maybe this player struggles, like Tana Boyd. Maybe he doesn't push for NRL selection. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen to sort through this halves depth, but ultimately basically every level of the Warriors system, you've got at least three decent halves competing for two spots, and that means incredible competition for selection, which should only bring out the best in everyone. So I look forward to learning more about Jye Linnane, look forward to learning more about Morgan Gannon as well. We'll see what Hazen Mellors can do. And all we can do is watch and learn. Like, I don't want to predict anything with those halves positions. I feel more comfortable predicting that some of the forward pack stuff. I feel confident predicting like Sio Kelly will probably be the next outside back debutant for the Warriors. I feel confident in predicting that maybe Etuati Fukafuka, if he is still in the Warriors system, he is going to play the Kalani going role because he's got that skill set already. He was a halfback in first 15 at St. Peter's College in Auckland, and he's a nuggety little ruthless chap in the middle of the field. I think he's going to be more of a small forward than a hooker. I feel confident predicting that. I feel confident predicting Salolilo and Rodney Tuipulotu-Vea will be the two best middle forwards on the rise this summer. I feel confident predicting those type of things. I've got no idea what's going to happen in the halves. All I know is that there are heaps of high quality halves competing for selection, and that is only going to make each other better, and it's going to give the Warriors far more strength in important positions. I did mention Fukafuka, and I'll be curious to see where Fukafuka is at over this summer. But obviously he went to St. Peter's College and was their halfback in their first 15. That team also included Presley Siumanu Tingafua, who was in the Warriors system this year, mainly at the under 21 level. He has played one game in New South Wales Cup. He might be another forward to watch out for on the rise. But there was also Siale Faeamani, who was a first 15 player for St. Peter's College in Auckland. And I'm just looking at a random game. They're playing De La Salle, 20th of August 2022, and there's at least 3 players in their first 15 team who are now in rugby league systems. I have seen Andrew Nansen playing Fox Memorial as well, so that's just another reminder to chill out on the crossover between first 15 rugby and rugby league, because most Kiwi-NRL juniors played first 15 rugby, so just keep that in mind, keep that tucked away, that we don't have any dramas there. But Siale Faeamani is a very interesting player right now, because he was just signed by the Gold Coast Titans. And that's funky because Faeamani was in the Warriors system. Then he went to the Panthers for this year as part of, he was one of the early kind of Panthers signings from the Warriors system. Faeamani paved the way for Keilani going, and Compton, Purcell, and those type of players. Now Faeamani is off to the Titans. Most of Faeamani's games for the Panthers in Jersey Flegg were at centre. I think he played one game of New South Wales Cup at centre as well for the Panthers. And now he's off to the Titans. This actually smells a lot like Francis Manulelua and his stopover with the Panthers. Manulelua was, again, he played first 15 rugby for King's College alongside Ali Leotawa. All these dudes play first 15 rugby, so we don't need to hype up the dramas between rugby league and rugby union, because every single young Warriors player in the NRL squad right now played first 15 rugby. Manulelua left King's College and went into the Panthers system. Then he got a better opportunity with the Knights. And I don't think these little stopovers at the Panthers are like, oh, the Panthers don't want you anymore. I think these stopovers are more like, go to the Panthers, do your thing, and then a better opportunity presents itself. For Manulelua, he went from playing like SG ball, bit of under 21s for the Panthers, to being in the wider NRL squad for the Knights, playing New South Wales Cup this year, hunting an NRL debut. Like Manulelua will probably debut for the Knights next year, and obviously they have a new coach, so it'll be fun to see how all the Kiwi-NRL juniors at the Knights go, because the Knights love Aotearoa Rugby League talent. Faeamani, he's gone into a development contract with the Panthers. Fans, who cares about what type of contract? Top 30 development, junior contract, who cares? Because it has no impact on game time. Like, this is just stuff for the players and the clubs to organize, paying the players what type of money you're going to earn and all those little details. But fans, who cares what kind of contract Faeamani's on? All we need to know is he has gone from under 21s to part of the Titans' wider NRL squad. That opportunity probably wasn't going to come at the Panthers because it's a highly competitive system, but Faeamani, he earned a contract with the Panthers from his footy with the Warriors. Now he's earned a fringe NRL squad role at the Titans based on what he did with the Panthers this season. And he's probably looking to be a centre, maybe a winger. We'll see what happens there with Faeamani at the Titans. The Titans have also signed Jesnon Taumoepeau. He is from New Plymouth, a Western Suburbs junior from Taranaki, where I think that's the same club as Mawene Hiroti. We've got Zach Docker-Clay, who's a Bell Block junior. You've got Tiana Davison, Kiwi Fern. And at the Knights, she is a Waitara junior in rugby union, but I think I just read a story that she has helped being involved in sparking up the Waitara Women's Rugby League team. We've also got, Gail Broughton's from Hawera, and the Warriors junior Kahu Kappa. He is from New Plymouth as well. So Taranaki is on the rise with their rugby league. And one of those early Kiwi-NRL juniors from Taranaki, Taumoepeau, he has had a bit of a journey. I think he was initially recruited by the Rabbitohs, but he started most of his stuff with the Sharks. Then he went up north. I think he was part of the Cowboys system. Then he came back to Canberra, was playing New South Wales Cup for Canberra. And now he's been signed to the Titans NRL squad. And he's a tall outside back, probably a winger. I'd say that's where most of his footy's been played. That's where he played for the Raiders all season in New South Wales Cup. And now he gets an opportunity at the Titans as well. And there's another story on the Titans website where the Titans do a good job of updating everyone on their train and trial lists, and they've got two stories here. Mate, their feeder club train and trial list, which is their train trial list in the what am I trying to say? In Queensland Cup. So your Tweeds, your Ipswich, and all that type of stuff. And they have a lot of information about the players who are going to be train trialing with the NRL squad this summer, which includes, and that's important because a lot of NRL clubs don't do this. Like, you go to a lot of NRL clubs, their websites have nothing, no information, and that's all good. But the Titans should be celebrated because they have a lot of information, very transparent, very open about who is part of their NRL squad, and it makes everyone's mahi a lot easier. One of the players is Hawaiki Morrison, who's an outside back. He went to King's College. I don't know if he played first 15, but there's some stuff on the interwebs linking him to first 15 at King's College. So again, another first 15 rugby player who has moved into a rugby league system. Yeah, 2024, Hawaiki Morrison playing first 15 for King's College. He's been playing for Tweed Juniors, and he is now part of the Titans NRL squad. He's played for the future Titans. Centre, maybe an edge forward. So it'll be interesting to see how Hawaiki Morrison goes. And there's also Torino Jackson. Torino Jackson is a funky dude because he's a middle forward from Dunedin. Now, guess what? Torino Jackson was playing rugby union at first 15 at King's High School in Dunedin, not to be confused with King's College in Auckland, and he played rugby union for Zingari Richmond as part of the growing rugby league scene in the South Island. We know we've got Kairos Booth in the wider Warriors system. He's from Balclutha. And you've got Torino Jackson, who was playing rugby league for Otago and South Island. Then he got recruited by the Titans, and he's been playing for Tweed Juniors. Now he steps up to NRL training with the Titans. So I'll be very curious to see how Torino Jackson develops at the Titans. Last little spotlight I want to do here is with the St. George Illawarra Dragons, because as I said, Setu Tu has been linked to the Dragons. And the Dragons have basically, if we go back, since the Patrick Herbert, Stephen Masters era, the Dragons haven't done any Kiwi-NRL recruitment of note, and they are one of the only NRL teams who don't recruit juniors from Aotearoa every year. Like, they're basically, for a couple of years here, the only Kiwi-NRL players have been like Ben Murdoch, Masala, Christian Tuipulotu, both Otahuhu juniors, so respect to that. But there's no Kiwi-NRL juniors in their system. That is now changing if they do sign Setu Tu, which will probably start out at the New South Wales Cup level, and then he'll be hunting NRL footy. But we know that the Dragons have also signed Rokko Walker from Auckland Grammar, first 15. And it was one of the Sports Vision, they said that Demetrius Kilisimasi has signed with the Dragons as well. And he moves from the Roosters to the Dragons. He's a Pakuranga junior who is, I think he might have gone to Howard College in Auckland. And he was a notable junior in the Roosters system, but now he is moving into the Dragons system as an outside back, like a centre, winger. and yeah, centre wing as per the little graphic for Sport Vision. And there's another, so that is Sport Vision. Like these are all just public information via the agents and managers. If you go to, this is a very interesting little wrinkle, because if you think about the women's sporting landscape in Aotearoa, you think about what is happening with netball, you think about what is happening with rugby union, you think about how a lot of top level rugby union players, whether that's Black Ferns Sevens, Black Ferns, Super Rugby Aupiki, Faeamani Cup as well, how a lot of those players are moving to NRLW, like Peyton Takimoana, Taira Wetere at the Faeamani Cup level, Taisha Ignasio, Shakira Baker, Patricia Maliepa, like all those players, all that's been happening. But now at the junior level, you're seeing a lot of wahine from Aotearoa be into NRLW systems as well, which makes it very hard to keep up with. But those players, like this is kind of under the radar, so all the mainstream coverage of netball and rugby union isn't necessarily aware of how many younger wahine from Aotearoa are moving into rugby league systems, and this is going to explode over the next 2 years. So if you go to Excel Sports Management, John Fadel, Fadel, to me, he is the most active agent of young women from Aotearoa moving into NRLW. And I go on his Instagram page here. We've got like I think he got the Taumoepeau sisters over to Australia. You go to his social media, and basically every second post is about a young woman from Aotearoa moving to an NRLW system. This includes the Liufau sisters, Lavinia and Mele, they're with the Dragons. Taylor Peters, she's with the Dragons from Aotearoa. Taylor Peters, I think she's also a Pakuranga junior from Pakuranga Howick area. I don't know if it says anything here. Liufau, let's do a quick Google search to see if they are linked to a club in Auckland. Oh, I don't know, we'll ignore that because that's not good for the videos. But that is to say that the Dragons are very busy recruiting wahine from Aotearoa in the women's space, and if you follow John Fadel, Excel Sports Management, you'll be aware of just how many young women from Aotearoa are moving into NRLW pathlines. Obviously, the Warriors women's pipeline is going to increase as well. But just sticking with the Dragons have done a great job with their women. So something like the Taumoepeau sisters, when they started with the Bulldogs, but they have Alexis debuted with the Dragons, Trinity debuted with the Dragons. And you've also got like Jessica Patia, Samoan international from Wainuiamata, like the Taumoepeau sisters. She's been in the Dragon system. I think Zion Mai'u'u's younger sister, Jezreel, off the top of my head, freestyle, so that's not for sure. She played for the Dragons system this year as well, and I think she might actually be returning to Auckland with the Warriors. But the Dragons have been very active and busy recruiting wahine from Aotearoa. None of that has been the case on the men's pipeline, but now we have at least 3 signings from Aotearoa, with Setu Tu rumoured, Otahuhu Jr., Rokko Walker from Auckland Grammar First 15, and Demetrius Kilisimasi, Pakuranga Jr., he is in the Dragon system as well. So it's good to see the Dragons catching up on the men's side, but all that women's stuff was to give you a little place to go if you do want to follow the women's signings. But it also is to highlight the fact that the Dragons do a great job of recruiting wahine from Aotearoa, unlike the men's pipeline. We'll be on top of any other news developments over the next week, and we'll pop up next weekend as well with another video breaking it all down. But big up to you. Shout out to Aotearoa and all the lands, the mountains, the waters around us, because it's a beautiful time to be alive. Do your best. Kia kaha. Chur.